rumble of the discourse. We've taken an abandoned concrete factory at the margins of the declining American empire and repurposed it into a battleground where 19 separate entities from across the political spectrum enter the discourse one by one and do battle to determine who controls the narrative force of the discourse. I hope you'll join me, your Southern Gothic futurist host Dirk God Raven Mac, for each and every episode of Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy Dirk God Raven Mac. Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. We are back at it in our abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town. 27 competitors in this thing. They come out every minute. You get a point for eliminating people, 3 points for finishing fourth, 5 for third, 7 for second, and 10 points for the first. It's a 7-week series. This is week 3. 7-week series. We're going to have 6 weeks of these things, and then in the 7th week, top 27 point getters will come out and reverse order about who's had the most points and try to crown the champion of the discourse. This is sponsored by friends at Catbird. They sponsored last season. Ain't nobody sent me no money for this season. I don't even know if anybody watches this thing, man. We're kind of plugging along, doing what we do in anonymity and obscurity behind the algorithm, but we just call it Friends at Catbird. Still sponsoring it, but I got my Venmo and Cash App there. If you some random ass person who sees this and is like, oh wow, this is crazy, hit me up, man. My ass is always broke. But then again, your ass is probably always broke too. We're all always broke. It's a fucked up world we live in. Anyways, because of the Catbird sponsorship, we have What's the Word Catbird. And if you don't know, Catbird's a real person. Guy who lives around here. And actually, I usually try to speak a few words with him before the show. And I asked him before the show out in the parking lot today, what's the word, Catbird? And he said, your cheating heart. And then he started singing that old Hank Sr. song. And he was talking about how with the Trump thing going on, how that dude had cheated on his wife and his wife didn't know, and like, you know, Catbird said, like, you know, some people nowadays got an arrangement where they might have extramarital sex and everybody knows and is okay with it, but this was obviously one of them situations where Trump was cheating on his old lady, you know, and acting like that was cool. But that's also why he was paying money to not have everybody know, because back in 2016, people might have still pretended to care about that. Catbird said now they probably don't. Everybody's crazy. He said the Baptist church that his sister goes to, he knows they probably not talking about adultery here the last couple weeks. But anyways, what's the word, Catbird? Catbird said, your cheating heart. Our standings after 2 of 7 events. Tied up at the top with 13 points is the Independent Centrist, who won week 1, a homeless guy who won week 2, and the Free Thinker been stacking points. Mike Johnson's on that leaderboard as well, the Bootlicker, RFK Jr., and other people you can see there. But let's go on up to the ring. Referees in there tonight are the Lady Cop and the Police State. As usual, they're trying to maintain the law and order. And our first competitor coming out, Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. Of course, catching some flack for insulting Congresswoman. Was she climbing up on the thing in the corner? Catching some flack for talking about another woman's appearance. And, you know, look, man, I ain't gonna shame nobody, but Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't the most mainstream, conventionally attractive woman herself, and shouldn't really be casting those stones on that front. But you know, whatever, man. And as she's out in the crowd talking trash, I don't know what's going on here. She's not in the ring, so we have this extended intro where we wait for our second competitor to see who's going to be taking on MTG to open this thing up today. So MTG finally gets in the ring, and here comes our second competitor. I hear the music. And it's Jasmine Crockett. So it's actually the congresswoman from Texas that Marjorie Taylor Greene insulted her eyelashes and mocked her. And Jasmine Crockett, of course, has since clapped back, as she called it. She clapped back at MTG. So now they get to go at it, man. MTG getting the initial shots on, controlling this thing to begin things here. Again, we got 27 people coming out there. You can see ladders in the ring and around the ring. Those represent the meritocracy myth that you can climb and be anything in America, which is a goddamn lie. And there are also a bunch of briefcases outside the ring, which are filled with lobbyist money and special interest money and super PAC money and all those things, all those fun things that make American politics so American. MTG and Jasmine Crockett going at it here. Trading blows. Nobody's really gained control one way or the other. Smacked by MTG into Crockett and then rolled her over and dropped her on her head. We get a buzzer, so we're going to get another competitor. It's Eric Adams, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who it was revealed that he received some campaign contributions, I don't even know what that goes to, from business leaders who coordinated him using the police to break up the Columbia student protest. So coordinated by business interests, rich men who decided that they wanted to interject themselves in the thing. And Adams going for a pin on Jasmine Crockett, but she kicks out. She's got one of those ladders, but drops Adams with a kick to Jasmine Crockett. You think that he would be going after MTG, who is holding her back. He's focused on Jasmine Crockett right now, and we get a buzzer. And here comes the university president, speaking of that situation around the country and all the student protests. The university president is out here. MTG falls off that ladder. University president has that award of some sort, which he's striking Jasmine Crockett with. Marjorie Taylor Greene drops Eric Adams on his head, but then that president throws that thing. Leg takedown on the president. Jasmine Crockett now beating on MTG with that trophy. And some punches to the president from Jasmine Crockett, and then she's back on Eric Adams. The president's really swinging that trophy, man. He is going at it with that trophy. And coming out to face that president, perhaps, is the Student Justice for Palestine student, this protest student, head wrapped in the keffiyeh, calling attention. You know, they caught a lot of flack for alleged anti-Semitism, but I will say we've heard more disagreement with Israel from government officials, from U.S. government officials, from other governments in other places than we've ever heard before. And of course, it's not just because of these student protests. It's the fact that the Israeli government is killing thousands upon thousands of civilians. It's not a good look by any government to be that way. And there's a roll-up on Jasmine Crockett by that university president, only a 2 count. And coming out is the Independent Centrist. So that Independent Centrist who won week 1, got the bonus points in week 1. I don't think he fought last week, but Independent Centrist won week 1. Is going to come out and try to get some more points to keep. And the university president just knocked that Student Justice for Palestine student off of the top of the rope on the opposite side. So the president did eliminate the student. Getting a little vengeance for the walkout on the commencement ceremony the other weekend. Knocked that student out of the discourse tonight. Eric Adams got that trophy. The university president's still out there. MTG and Jasmine Crockett are still out there, and that Independent Centrist as well. And there's a pin on Jasmine Crockett, 2 count kick out. Here comes the homeless guy. So the homeless guy won last week, and of course the homeless guy talked to him outside, and he would be upset with this university president because apparently from talking to him, so Catbird and myself, Catbird had a pop-up camper that we put up behind the building here for the homeless guy, but he used to live in a nearby college town but was run out of there when they cleaned up for a graduation ceremony. They cleaned up the camp he was living at by the railroad track, so that was part of what relocated him the last time, and he just slammed Jasmine Crockett, and homeless guy got it. Yeah, that's going to be a pin on Jasmine Crockett. She's eliminated by the homeless guy, who gets another point. So again, he won last week, but he gets a point for eliminating someone this week. Keep stacking those points and move up the rankings. And here comes Senator Tom Cotton, Arkansas senator, giant idiot, alleged alpha male, very wrapped up in Israeli interests, been someone kind of spearheading these campaigns against the students. There's a pin on MTG by a homeless guy. Kick out of 2, though. The university president just dropped Independent Centrist on his head, but only got a 2 count. MTG slammed into that ladder. That should be a pin if he can get on her. But he doesn't go for it. Homeless guy doesn't go for it. There is a pin. There's stuff going on everywhere, man. I can't even keep up with it, y'all. We got a buzzer, and here comes Bernie Sanders, Vermont senator. Old burn dog. You know, I was actually thinking about how you don't really hear people complaining or pretending American healthcare is the best healthcare in the world anymore. And Bernie ran on that Medicare for all, and you know, I feel like healthcare would be a very rallying topic for people because it's even worse than it was 4 years ago, 8 years ago. It's horrible. Healthcare is horrible, and we could use it. Bernie with a pin on MTG, so he eliminates MTG, and simultaneously we get a pin on the other side, and Eric Adams was eliminated by a homeless guy over there. So we have two eliminations there very quickly, and a buzzer. And here comes Dark Brandon. Dark Brandon, of course, this kind of weak-ass social media attempt to pretend that Biden is owning people. It's like reverse Trumpism. You know, and of course they talked about a moment where Trump was flimsy with a podium at a campaign rally, but it really wasn't that bad of a thing. And like, this is coming from me, who I would love to laugh at how dumb Trump is, and it's pretty easy to do, but the Dark Brandon ownage was just kind of weak. Dark Brandon feels a lot like whoever was running the Hillary account when they did that social media post when she was running for president, how she was like your abuela, and everybody was like, this is horrible. I feel like the same person's running the account. Well, here comes RFK Jr., and University President got tossed. Didn't see who tossed him. I think maybe it was Tom Cotton over there. I don't know. We'll get video replay, and our intern will score it for the right person. RFK Jr. coming out, the man with the brain worm, running for president. Who knows what sort of wild card he'll play on things. So we've got the Independent Centrist and the homeless guy, who both have won one of these already this season. Senator Tom Cotton, Senator Bernie Sanders, presidential candidate RFK Jr., and Dark Brandon. The meme come to life. And we got a buzzer coming out to join the melee is Bill Meyer. Bill Meyer, that guy who, is he a liberal or a libertarian? A liberalitarian? Whoever he is, he's horrible and he's idiotic and he's been bad for decades. Like, it's not just recently, he's been bad for decades. Like, just, he's the kind of entertainment that sounds smart for stupid people. But I think it's more for college-educated stupid people that don't realize they're stupid. But, you know, he says things that sound smart for stupid people, which kind of the opposite of me. I say stupid things for smart people, or so I'd like to think. Dark Brandon flexing in there, and we get a buzzer, and we're up to 8 people. And it's Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker, this guy who, and homeless guy got pinned in there. I didn't see who pinned him, but homeless guy got pinned. And there's another pin attempt. Looks like Bernie Sanders pinned RFK Jr. So Bernie Sanders, he might have been the one that pinned the homeless guy. But Harrison Butker, Kansas City Chiefs kicker, who came out and said that, well, Tom Cotton got eliminated by Bernie. And Tom Cotton is bloody. Bernie on a tear in there. Harrison Butker, of course, gave a speech at a small college commencement address talking about women's place. Very anti-woke talking and all. People have been going crazy with it. Other people saying how hypocritical it is. But you know, you don't really need, like, other people saying, well, Colin Kaepernick was blacklisted for what he did. Bernie Sanders eliminated in there. Colin Kaepernick was blacklisted, and it's hypocritical. The NFL would tolerate it. These people know they're hypocritical. They don't care they're hypocritical. Like, you're not going to get any points by pointing out their hypocrisy. And speaking of hypocrites, Elon Musk came out. He's got a big hammer and he slams the Independent Centrist. He might eliminate the centrist. Well, look at that. Elon Musk uses the algorithm to eliminate the Independent Centrist. So we are, who is left in here? We've got Dark Brandon, Bill Meyer. Oh, man, Bill Meyer. Harrison Butker and Elon Musk. Oh, my goodness, man. This is the Discourse. And coming out to join them, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He's in the aisle, and Bernie slams him, and Bernie bulldogs him. Abbott and Bernie Sanders going at it. So Abbott hadn't even gotten to the ring, and I will inform you that due to the magical realism of our abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town, Greg Abbott is not in a wheelchair. He can walk here. You know, he could probably walk anyway. Nobody wants to walk anymore. Just using a wheelchair for a political prop. He puts a couple of those meritocracy ladders in there. He's going right after Bill Maher. Dark Brandon stomping on Harrison Butker. And we get a buzzer. I think I recognize that music. Yep, it's the bootlicker. It's the bootlicker. He comes out saluting the police state and the lady cop. That thin blue line is his Viagra. He loves it. So the bootlicker is out here. He joins the group. He's got that kendo stick. And he whips on Bill Maher. He whips on... Well, there's a pin. He immediately eliminates Bill Maher. So bootlicker doing some good there. Eliminating Bill Maher. Can't say I'm going to argue with that. Harrison Bucker rolls up Elon Musk. And only gets a 2 count. And now coming out is Big John Fetterman. He was on that leaderboard. Big John Fetterman, Pennsylvania senator. Changed the dress code of the Senate, kicking it in shorts and a hoodie. Complaining about anti-Semitism. Arguing with AOC. I guess he's positioning himself for the Joe Manchin spoiler role. Although I don't mind guys or girls or they Dems disagreeing with their own party. I think that's healthy. You shouldn't all be standing lock, stock, and barrel. But I don't know. Fetterman's also kind of a clown, too. Going after the bootlicker, Dark Brandon with a bulldog on Greg Abbott there. And there's a pin on Elon Musk by Fetterman. Elon is eliminated. Big John eliminates Elon Musk. Same time Chuck Schumer comes out. Chuck Schumer and Harrison Bucker gave it up in there. He got pinned by somebody. I couldn't see. I was busy looking at my notes. Harrison Bucker's gone. So we still got Dark Brandon, Greg Abbott, the bootlicker, John Fetterman, Chuck Schumer. Lady cop and police state are your referees. And Lady cop going to the top of that ladder and getting knocked down. And oh man, devastating kick by Fetterman. But bootlicker hits him. Dark Brandon off the ladder. A lot going on. And we get a buzzer. It looks like Bucker and Elon Musk are fighting. Here comes New York Times op-Eddie. That New York Times op-ed guy never has anything new to say, but he gets to say it 3 times a week. And it gets recirculated a lot. And he drops Fetterman on that ladder. He may have taken Fetterman out here. Yeah, Fetterman's gone. So New York Times op-Eddie takes out John Fetterman. You got people crashing into these meritocracy ladders. Here. Schumer rolls up Dark Brandon over there. Dark Brandon kicks out. Dark Brandon flipped onto that ladder, and Schumer goes for another pin, and Greg Abbott going for the pin on the bootlicker at the same time. So bootlicker and Dark Brandon eliminated. We got Greg Abbott still in there. Chuck Schumer. That New York Times op-Eddie and AOC is coming out. AOC. People complaining because she hadn't been progressive enough. Other people complaining that she's a communist conspiracy. And there goes Abbott over the top rope, but Schumer can't finish him off. New York Times op-Eddie is beating on AOC, but she gets a kick in. And they switch off. Nobody can get over there for the pin coverage. And here comes Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. He joins things, and AOC pins New York Times op-Eddie in there, so that New York Times op-ed editorial dude is gone. So we've got Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, Congressional Firebrand AOC, Senator Chuck Schumer, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Well, and there's a 2 count on Schumer. AOC headlock on Greg Abbott. Mike Johnson waiting for his spot. Throws AOC into that ladder and goes for a pin immediately. That might be it for AOC. And that is it for AOC and Chuck Schumer. So Mike Johnson and Greg Abbott sort of double team there and get rid of AOC and Schumer. So now we got Greg Abbott and Mike Johnson, and now the reply guy from the south side of Facebookistan. So we've only got 3 men in there, and I think we've got about 6 people left to come. 5. We've got five spots left open. So 3 people in there with 5 to come, and of course those final 4 will get the bonus points. Don't forget that. reply guy setting up another one of those ladders. Greg Abbott kicks out. Mike Johnson with the elbow on Greg Abbott. Reply guy to the top rope as we get a buzzer. And it's Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris going to try to be a Democratic voice out here with Greg Abbott and Mike Johnson and the reply guy. She immediately drops Johnson on his back, and Greg Abbott goes for the pin after Kamala drops him. Only a 1 count. And she's pressing Mike Johnson. Look at Kamala, man. And then rolls up Greg Abbott right on that ladder. Slow to get in for the count. There's a kick out before they even get a 1 count. Greg Abbott slides behind her and gets a slide. And here comes J.D. Vance. Of course, Kamala Harris pinned there by Greg Abbott. J.D. Vance, potential vice president candidate for Donald Trump. He was in court with Trumper trying to kiss his ass, and he rolls up Greg Abbott, so he eliminates Greg Abbott. Of course, there's no love lost between me and J.D. Vance. We had words 2 weeks ago, or last week, was it? Yeah, last week. That's why the homeless guy was in this thing. We had to throw him in because I pissed J.D. Vance off, and J.D. Vance only a 1 count on Mike Johnson. But I want J.D. Vance. Can we set that up, Bob? My producer, Bob Dabalina. I want to fight with J.D. Vance. I want to get him. Sure, I could jump him afterwards. I'd go to jail for that. And here comes Donald Trump, man. Donald Trump. Hopefully that hush money trial will be wrapping up before long. We'll see what happens with that. It's hard to imagine him getting convicted. If he does get convicted, it's hard to imagine anybody forcing him to go to jail without people rioting in the streets. But, of course, I was talking to a buddy of mine recently, and he was talking about how the election is not really, and Trump falls off one of those ladders, the election is not really what they're fighting for. If Trump wins the election, that's great, but if he doesn't, they're already planning on that, and they might try to contest this thing and take it to the House of Representatives and have it decided by the Supreme Court, so the election might not even matter. Reply guy just gets wrecked by J.D. Vance. Speaking of the election, here comes President Biden. President Biden and Trump agreed to these 2 debates they're going to have. And there is a pin attempt. Reply guy pinned by Mike Johnson. So reply guy is eliminated. We got one more person coming out. And we've got the 2 candidates, Trump and Biden. Potential Vice President J.D. Vance is currently locked up with Trump. And Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. I really wish we could just get 2 other candidates in here. Good time for the old-fashioned tradition of people perhaps dropping out of races because of things that happen to cause them to no longer be alive. Well, looky here. Samuel Alito is our last entrant Supreme Court justice. News came out last week that when the January 6th insurrection, people complaining Trump thing was going on in D.C., Samuel Alito's house had an American flag upside down. He was in that realm as well, perhaps a supporter of that. Alito said his wife did it. He had nothing to do with it. Of course, that's, whatever, man. So if this thing does end up going to the Supreme Court, that's the Supreme Court you've got. J.D. Vance is pinned by Mike Johnson. So J.D. Vance, again, this is the first week and the third week, he was the 5th man left, so he missed out on those bonus points, thank goodness. And Trump tossed by Alito, so maybe Alito, Justice Alito, is not the pro-Trump person we thought. He just tossed him right there, so Trump is out. So we've got Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, President Biden, and Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. And these are our final 3. Trump will get those 3 bonus points. Alito's got a pipe in his hand, it looks like. But in a test of strength of President Biden right now, Mike Johnson just waiting for his chance to strike. And Biden just drops Alito right on one of those ladders and goes for the pin. And that's 2, and it kicked out. Alito kicked out. I thought that was going to be it for the Supreme Court Justice, but he's got some fight left in him. He's going after Mike Johnson now. Biden right on him. Devastating back smash by Alito onto Biden. And Alito goes over that top rope. Dangerous territory, but he gets back in. Nice punch to Johnson's face there by Supreme Court Justice Alito. Biden going after Alito, thrown into the ladder. Alito going after Biden now. So it's the executive branch versus the judicial branch, with Speaker of the House and the legislative branch in there as well. So we've got the three branches of American government facing off here. And Alito falls and Johnson eliminates him. So the judicial branch is gone first. So now we've got President Biden and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Alito issuing his dissenting opinion with that lead pipe on the way out. Looks like Johnson got bloodied up when he got hit with that pipe. Biden trying to lock up with him. Clothesline there by Biden. Is this it? That's one. No, just a one count. Johnson bridging his way across the ring there. Drop kick by Biden. Of course, Biden doesn't wear shoes. He wants you to know he's getting ready to get down to business. Johnson with a mule kick. Police stayed up on that ladder for some reason. Johnson can't quite get him. Picks up one of those things, and Biden jumping suplex Johnson right on his neck. Now they're locked up. And another devastating belly-to-belly suplex over the top. Biden holding his knee. Biden took some punishment there. Johnson much younger, much stronger. Going for the pin. This is probably it. 1, 2. That's a no. President Biden kicks out at 2, and that was a fast count, and he still kicked out. And he's on top of Johnson. Biden's a wily old veteran. Police state falls on that ladder. Johnson flopping around, flippity floppy. Biden trying to get him up. Johnson gets him up with a suplex. Going for the pin. Is this it? There's 2 and another kick out at 2. Biden hanging tough, man. Biden's down and they lock up. Biden's back up. And gets him. They're trading punches. They're close to that rope. Right on the edge. That's a dangerous spot. Biden could get tossed here. And then, no, he gets Johnson up and tosses Johnson. And just like that, President Biden eliminates Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and wins this thing in week 3 of our Monday Night Rumble at a Discourse. Mike Johnson eliminated. President Biden takes the 10 bonus points. Let's look at that replay. You can see here that Mike Johnson sort of at this point was in control. Biden was against the ropes, but then Biden tosses Johnson out the ring. No pin. He just tossed him right over the top rope and got the win. Way to go, Joe. So, tonight's results. Let's get that up here. President Biden got 11 points. Only man he eliminated was Mike Johnson, but he got those 10 bonus points. Mike Johnson eliminated 4 people tonight. So Mike Johnson, even on points tonight, even if he did finish second. Samuel Alito with 6 points. Donald Trump got 3. Bernie Sanders and Greg Abbott both eliminated 3 guys each. John Fetterman and a homeless guy both eliminated a couple. And we had 10 people eliminate 1 person. So our standings after 3 of 7 events, we got Mike Johnson is now at the top, even though he has not won any of our 3 weeks. He has scored points and been in the final 4, I think all 3 weeks maybe. Well, he is up there, 21 points. A homeless guy is second with 15. That Independent Centrist is there with 14. Free Thinker has 13 points. President Biden with 12. The Bootlicker's got 9 points. Let's see a second page of results here. John Fetterman with 7. RFK Jr. and Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito with 6. Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders with 5, Tom Cotton with 4, J.D. Vance, my arch nemesis, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. He's got 3 along with a couple other people and a whole bunch of people with 2. So once again, folks, this is sponsored by my Southern Gothic Futurism Patreon. If you don't know what that is, you can click the link in the description. Takes you to the thing. I got a lot of free posts there too. A lot of them are behind the paywall, but a lot of them are free, so you can click that link and you can go to the public samples and see a bunch of the various different things I do. Patreon supports it. Southern Gothic Futurism is about what comes after the end times, because the end times are never the actual end. But that's what this is. It's Monday Night Rumble at a Discourse. We will be back next week with week 4, halfway mark on our spring season. It'll be Memorial Day, and that's sort of the unofficial kickoff of summer. But of course, we're recognizing this by the Gregorian calendar, and summer doesn't kick off until summer solstice. But we've got 4, 5, 6 weeks of this to go, 3 more weeks, and then our big 7th week finale right before summer solstice. But until next week, salam.